All right, welcome to the explainer. The insect world, it's all around us, right? Constantly buzzing just out of sight. But when you really stop and look, you start to see things, behaviors so complex, so incredible, they just about defy belief. So let's dive right in. So here's the big question. Are insects smarter than we think they are? I mean, it sounds simple, right? But the answer? Oh, it's anything but. It's so easy to just write them off as these simple little creatures, just running on pure instinct. But the stuff we're about to see, it suggests something way, way more intricate is going on. Believe it or not, they can build actual living bridges, create what looks like modern art, and yeah, even get completely fooled by our technology. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into some of the wildest insect behaviors ever caught on camera. We're talking mind-bending teamwork, truly shocking transformations, and some just plain weird encounters where their worlds crashes into ours. Okay, first up, let's talk about ultimate teamwork. We're going to see how their collective intelligence creates these absolutely incredible structures. And this is not just strength in numbers. No, this is about a coordinated group intelligence that lets them pull off what seems totally impossible. Just look at this. An entire colony of ants built a living bridge, and for what? To raid a wasp nest for food. I mean, think about the ambition here. This isn't just some random structure. It's basically a coordinated living siege engine, thousands of them, all working together with one super high-stakes goal: attack that fortified wasp nest and bring home enough food to feed their colony for days. It's incredible. So how do they even do it? Well, it all starts with a few anchor ants. They just cling onto a high surface for dear life. Then, one by one, others start climbing down, linking their bodies and legs together, forming this living chain. It just keeps growing, getting longer and longer, until it finally connects to their target. And then, the rest of the army just walks right across them. It's this amazing display of trust and, honestly, raw engineering. All right, now for another master of teamwork, the leafcutter ant. These guys operate like a super efficient, completely decentralized harvesting team. When they find something good to eat, they don't just start munching. Oh no, they have this systematic, almost factory-like process to strip a plant bare with just astonishing speed. So how do they speed run a harvest like this? Well, it all boils down to communication. One single ant, a scout, finds a good leaf. It uses these crazy scissor-like mandibles to cut off a perfect piece. Then it carries that piece all the way back to the colony, which is basically its way of screaming, "Hey everybody, the good stuff is over here!" And just like that, a whole swarm descends and completely decimates the leaf. But, okay, what happens when you need to store all that food? Well, some ant species have evolved let's just say, a unique solution. Meet the honeypot ant. This is a specialized worker ant that is basically a living pantry for the colony. Yeah. Certain ants are designated as living food barrels. They just drink and drink nectar or other sweet liquids until their abdomens swell up to the size of a grape. And get this, they share this stored liquid by regurgitating it directly into the mouth of other ants. So when another ant gets hungry, it just walks up to one of these living pantries and the honeypot ant, well, it spits up a drop of food right into its mouth. I know, it's a little gross, but hey, it's an incredibly effective way to keep the whole colony fed when times are tough. Okay, so we've seen teamwork. Now let's switch gears and talk about life's incredible transformations. We're going from the group to the individual, and their life cycles can be really long, super dramatic, and honestly, they involve some of the most extreme makeovers in the entire animal kingdom, from a simple grub to a giant beetle. 500. Just look at that number. What could it possibly be? It's not hours, it's not millimeters, it's days. 500 days. That number, that's the life of a Hercules beetle, the world's largest beetle. It all starts on day one as a tiny grub, but then, for over a year, that grub just grows and grows into this massive thing. Then comes the pupa stage. This is where you can literally see its legs and those giant signature horns starting to emerge. And then finally, around day 500, the magnificent adult beetle is born. All right, here's a classic childhood mystery for you. How can a bean jump all on its own? You've probably seen these things, right? Mexican jumping beans, they just sit there and then, boom, they hop. But it's just a bean, isn't it? So what in the world is making it move?
Well, of course not. The secret is a tiny stowaway inside. There's a moth larva living in there, and it flings itself against the bean's walls to make it move. So when the bean gets warm, say in the palm of your hand, the larva inside gets active and just starts thrashing around, flinging itself against the walls. And that's what makes the whole bean jump. And this little guy will live inside that bean for about half a year before it finally comes out as a moth. Crazy.
All right, from strange transformations, let's turn to the masters of attack. We're talking everything from high-tech confusion to microscopic weapons. Insects have this incredible arsenal of tools and tactics for hunting, and some of them are surprisingly sophisticated, while others are just brutally simple. This quote just says it all. First, we got iPad kids, now we got iPad mantises. I mean, that perfectly captures the pure absurdity of what we're about to see. It really seems like our digital world is starting to confuse the insect kingdom, and in some pretty funny ways. So what you're looking at is a praying mantis, right? A master predator, and it is completely trying to catch these virtual butterflies on a phone screen. It's totally locked in. It ducks, it weaves, it lines up the perfect strike on a piece of glass. It just keeps lunging again and again, completely baffled by the technology, with no idea why it can't grab those butterflies. Now, let's go to the complete opposite end of the attack spectrum. Let's zoom way, way in. On the left, you see an ant's stinger. On the right, a human hair. That stinger isn't just a simple spike. It's an incredibly sharp, hollow needle designed for injecting venom. But look at the scale here. The tip is roughly half the width of that human hair, which looks absolutely massive in comparison. It's a total masterpiece of microscopic weaponry. And for our last section, let's dive into our strangest insect encounters. This is where the human and insect worlds collide, sometimes in the most unexpected and, frankly, downright bizarre ways. So here's a fun question. Can a beetle be an artist? I know, it sounds a little philosophical, right? But what if you took it literally? What if you actually gave a beetle a paintbrush and set it loose on a canvas?
Well, the result, as you can see, is actually pretty beautiful. Somebody attached tiny little paintbrushes to their pet beetles and just let them wander around a canvas. The beetles had full artistic control. They even got to choose their own colors by walking through different paints. And the final piece? It's this chaotic, colorful, abstract work. And as the person who filmed it said, now this is modern art. You know what? I kind of agree. And now we go from the artistic to the just plain unbelievable. One person kept bed bugs as pets. Yes, you heard me right, bed bugs. He even built them a tiny little mattress and fed them with his own blood. He'd let them crawl on his arms so they could eat. Talk about a dedicated pet honor. So, let's do a quick recap of all this insect ingenuity. The insect world is just full of surprises, right? We've seen their collective intelligence, building living bridges and harvesting as a massive team. We've seen extreme transformations, like that 500-day journey from a grub to a giant beetle. We've seen bizarre adaptations, like the larvae that make beans jump. And we've seen some surprising interactions with our world, from creating art to attacking phone screens. And all of that brings us to one final big question. Think about it. Every single thing we just saw was captured because someone just happened to be there with a camera at the exact right moment. So if this is the stuff that we can see, what other incredible insect behaviors are happening all around us every single day, completely unnoticed?